Going to introduce Office 365, Lync, and Skype for Business. It kind of depends on what your company is doing with it, whether you're using Lync or you're using Skype for Business. My name is Desiree Herman, and my email address is there. What we're going to do is we're going to go through a presentation that basically just takes you through what Lync and Skype is, and then I will actually go through a little bit of kind of functionality pieces as well. The first thing to this is always knowing that you can always log into all of Office 365 by going to portal.office.com, and then what you use is your email address and your password. It's a single sign-on interface. Once you have signed into the Office 365 and then you open up, again, in your environment, it depends whether you're using Lync or whether you're using Skype. They are both owned by Microsoft. Microsoft actually just purchased Skype recently in May of 2015, I believe. So, again, both of these tools are basically the same tool. It's just a different look and feel. Other than that, the functionality of both of them are exactly the same. So on the left side you see Lync, and then on the right side you see Skype for Business. This view here is basically just showing my contacts list. The next thing that I'm going to show is actually looking at your availability. So I have the ability to manage whether I'm available or not on a quick basis. Do not disturb, busy, be right back, etc. I also have the ability to customize those. So all users that see my identity wherever I am, if you look in the middle, you can see there are some people that are yellow, some people that are red, and then some people that are green. Based on the color that I see, I have the ability to know whether I might be able to contact them. One of the other things that you'll notice here is it does also say, out of the office this Friday. On Joel's in the middle there, it says Building 5. So you can actually specify for your coworkers where you're at, what you're doing, so they give you so it gives them an idea of maybe whether they have the ability to contact you or not, or whether you'll get back to them. If you'll notice on the right side, it says available, and then it says in the office. So there's a drop down there where it says in the office where I could just change that. The next slide is just what an IM message looks like. So when I go to somebody in my contacts list and I double click, it opens an IM to them. If you'll notice in the middle, I'm actually showing somebody that I'm talking to, and you can see their picture and you can see their availability. So we have a lot of information that we can garner just by creating an IM message with this person. On the right side, you can see somebody that's offline. So this is a person that's offline. It doesn't mean that I can't send them a message. I can still send them a message. As soon as they are online, they would get my message. The little buttons on the bottom are how I can actually send the message. If you'll notice, on the very right side, there is an attachment, a paper clip. There is an exclamation point. There is the smiley. Each of the other ones also have the smiley as well. And then there is an arrow in the Skype for Business window. All the way on the right is the Skype for Business window. But that arrow is just something that you don't need in Lync, because as soon as you hit enter, it automatically basically puts that message in there. The next slide that I have is looking at your contacts. So thinking about all of these people that I work with, who do I need to see on a normal basis? One of the things that I can really garner looking at this list is I can see if people are in or out of the office on a really quick 2-second basis. So I do have the ability to think about, where do I want to manage who sits where? I would like you to notice that in the middle box, I have application development, that's a group. There's system administration, project management, then there's support. That is not alphabetical, so I have the ability to put the groups in whatever order I want so that I can look at specific groups that I might want to use. There are also arrows that will expand and collapse any of these. And then the next thing that we're going to look at, so this is again my Skype contacts. And then we have the link in the Skype meetings. So this is basically what a meeting looks like. What we have in a meeting is up on the top. We see the part, or up on the top left, and then also on the very top of where the sharing desktop is, we see the participants. Over on the left-hand side, you can see there is a chat window. This is where messages go between the people that are in this meeting. There is the buttons down on the bottom left. The first button that you see is the I am button. There's a mute button that comes next. Then there's a video button. The video button would rely on a webcam that you would have connected. If you see here it's grayed out, that means that I don't have a webcam connected. The next button, that looks like a projector. That's actually how I can present my screen. And then the next button is, again, the people that are available in this call. Over on the right-hand side, up on the top, if you notice, there's a hang-up button. It's a red button. That's a hang-up, and then there's also exit the meeting. So that's basically where I'm going to get out of the meeting if I needed to. There are reasons why you might have to go back and check your audio and things like that. When you're in a meeting, you can disconnect from the meeting and still reconnect to the meeting. The meeting is set for whatever time of day the meeting is set for. So the other thing that I'm showing here is just another view of a meeting, just so that you can see there are participants that are here. This is a brainstorm session is what it's called, and we have 3 participants. The one other thing that I'd like everybody to see is the availability of creating a link or a Skype meeting from Outlook. That's from Outlook or from Outlook web app, either way. So you can actually create a meeting in Outlook and you can add the link or the Skype link to that meeting. The other thing that you also have the ability to do is right from your contacts list, you can schedule a meeting as well. So there's different ways that you can set up a meeting in Lync as well. All right, so now I'm going to actually use the interface itself. So if you'll notice here, up on the top it says my name. Up above that there's a little bubble here, and you can specify what you're doing there. So this is what I'm actually working on today. My name. Right now it tells me that I'm in a conference call. I did not specify that I was in a conference call. This interface speaks to my computer and my Outlook and looks at my meetings and specifies that I'm in a meeting if I'm in a meeting. So this speaks to, because they're all Microsoft products, they all speak to each other. At the office, there is a drop down here, or if you just double click in there, you can actually type whatever it is. That's where you could see before when I was looking at the other people in my contacts list, they said they were at building C or whatever building they're at. It's very nice for us to have all of this information on a really quick basis without actually having to ask somebody or tell somebody the information. So that's just kind of my availability stuff. The other buttons that you see here up on the top, you can see the minimize, the maximize, the close button. If I maximize it, it's extremely large. The other buttons that I see are down below here. So the first one is contacts. If I click on contacts, this is showing me all of my contacts. If I click on conversations, you can see these are all of my conversations that I have. So this is the history of the conversations that I have. One of the nice things that we have there is the ability to go into my historical data and know what conversations I did have. And then there's also calls. So if I use it for the call availability, there's also calls there. And again, that's the little clock. First one is your contacts. The last one is whatever I have scheduled, and this is in Skype. This is not directly from my Outlook. This is if I only use Skype and if I create meetings this way from the menu. If you'll notice, there's another gear button here. So if I click on the gear button, there's file. This is how I could sign out. Here's my status. I could change it here if I want to. If I go to view received files, if I've received files from anybody in a meeting, there is one location where I can go and I can find those files. The conversation history, just to note, these are two ways of doing the same thing. That's just like Microsoft. They give us multiple ways of doing anything. So this is another place where I can get into my conversation history. There's a close button here. Close would close out of the IM tool, but it still leaves me logged in, and other users can see that I'm logged in. Exit would actually exit this application entirely, so it would close it out. When I'm in my contacts list, if I click on the gear button, whoever I'm selected on, if I click on that gear button and I click on Meet Now, it's going to create a meeting with that person for me. So that's File, Meet Now. There's the Tools section as well. Always on top, that just means that Lync is always going to show up on top of all of the other windows that I have. The Recording Manager is where I can record calls and meetings that I have in Lync. So there is one place on my computer where it will save those recordings, and this is where I can manage those. The audio device settings, this is something that's extremely helpful to remember. I'm not going to go into it right now because it will pause our call, but when I go into the audio device settings, this takes me into the options behind Lync. And this is where I could test my call quality, so I need to make sure that my microphone and my speakers are working before I even go into the call. I can do that in my audio device settings. The video device settings would have to do with your webcam and what you're actually showing as video. The dialing conferencing settings, this is based on my organization. And then all of these things I can actually get to if I get to options. So from the gear button, so again here I'm in Lync or Skype, the gear button is my tool to get to the tools, and then if I click on options, this takes me to all of the options behind Lync. There's some general basic settings, so show the call controls, etc. Logging into Skype for Business. So there's some basic general settings. Then there's personal settings. Sometimes I log in with a different account. If that's the case, I can actually change this up here. It will automatically start the app whenever I log into Windows. And it will start the app in the foreground, so it is going to be in front of anything. The Personal Information Manager, this right here is how we know that this is connected to Outlook, and how my in a conference call showed up in Skype here. It showed up because that's what's in Outlook. All the checkboxes here to make sure that I'm connected to everything, save my call logs and the conversation history, etc. Share my location info. So the location at the office, whatever the location is currently on at this point. Showing pictures of contacts. If you'll notice, some of these people, they do have pictures, so I can see the contact pictures as well. The contacts list, this is just basically how it's organized by default. If you'll notice, there's favorites. So we've talked about favorites now in mail. There's favorites in your Lync as well, or Lync or Skype as well. So there's a lot of favorites that you have. Status. This is what's going to happen with my status. So change my status from inactive to away after how many minutes. This is where I can specify those settings. My picture, this is where I could change my picture if I want to. Phones, this is where I hold on to all my phone information. The TTY is for disability stuff. The alerts, this is what is going to happen when alerts happen, when something is trying to notify me from Lync or from Skype. So this is the information that it's going to pull. When my status is do not disturb, it says here, show all alerts, but only conversation alerts from people in my work group privacy relationship. Or I could say don't show alerts. So I have the ability to kind of manage that information. Contacts that are not using Skype for Business, so people that are not, I could allow invites but block all other communications, or I could allow anyone to contact me or block the invites. Some of these settings might be grayed out based on the organization that you're in. They have the ability to manage these by a policy as well. The IM section, this is what happens when I'm in an actual IM chat session. Ringtones, so there's my ringtones. The audio device itself, this is actually where I would go to. If you notice, you can see me speaking here. This is where I would check the call quality settings. When you check call quality settings, it pauses you in whatever conversation you're in. So I don't have the ability to do that right now because it would pause me and then you wouldn't hear me. But again, this is that test place where you're going to make sure that everything is working. The video device, we don't have a camera on this machine, so right now I don't have any settings there. File saving. When I receive files from other people, this is the default folder it's going to go into. The recording, this is the default recording place that it's going to go in. And these are the settings for the recording that I'm creating. And then what happens with my Skype meetings? Do I show the IM tool? Do I show the participant list or not? I don't have to see those things, but I can as well. Alright, so those are the options. I'm going to cancel out of that. And again, where I got to options was the gear button. And then tools, and then options. There's help. So there's some help features. And then I could also show the menu bar. The menu bar is something we haven't seen in quite some time in most of our Office apps, but you can see there's File, there's Meet Now, Tools, and Help. That's exactly the same thing as you see from this gear button. So you have the same things available to you, and you don't have to show it. You could show it if you want to. All right. So those are all of the kind of from the top down. I did mention there's in your people here, so if you go to the contacts, then there's groups. If I click on status, you can see it's basically then going to sort people based on status. If I click on relationships, it's going to show me my relationships. And then if I click on new, this is people who've added me as a contact. They actually show up here until I add them into a group. If I click on the groups here, I'd like you to notice there's a favorite section up at the top. I don't have anybody in it right now. There's also other contacts. So when I just simply add a contact, by default, they're going to go into other contacts. And then once I have them as a contact, then I have the ability to move them to wherever I want to. There is a drag and drop feature here. It's supposed to function. Let's see. All right. The other option that you also have is a right-click function. When I right-click, I could add this person to my favorites. I could copy them, or I could move them. If I move them, let's see. Now that person is down in a different group. And again, I have the ability to expand and collapse these groups so that if I'm only looking to see the activity monitor from instructors, I can expand that, and then I have the availability to look at that information. So this doesn't just have to be an IM tool. This is also an informational tool. Again, the status, relationships, new. And then if I click on the little, it's a person with a plus sign. If I click on that, I have more options here. I could also create new groups. I could add a contact that's not in my organization if I have their information, or I can add contacts that are in my organization. If I do that, basically what it's going to do, it's going to allow me to find somebody that's in my organization. So you see, as I start typing, it starts to look for anybody with that name, and it's not just first name, it's first or last name. And then once I find that person, there's a right-click option here where I can just add them. And if I want to add them into contacts, I can add them into a contact group. And now you can see they're available here in a contact group. Alright, then when I actually create an IM, so once I'm looking at my contacts, if I double click on somebody's name, what it does is it opens up a window that is their IM. This is the messages that I'm creating between myself and Nicole at this point. And again, I have the ability to type whatever I'd like here. If I click on the arrow here, it sends it. Also, if I just simply hit enter, notice there's an attachment button. There's an exclamation point, so I can mark something as extremely important. And then we also have the smileys, so you can put smileys in if you want to. And then, again, it's to send it, I either hit the send button or I hit enter, and that sends that message. If you'll notice here, it does say she can't receive IMs right now, status is unavailable or offline. It doesn't mean that this message doesn't go to her. As soon as she logs in the next time, this message goes to that person. So again, what I have the ability to do then is in the conversation, I think one of the big things that we think about with IM is we're trying to take away some of the things that we've done in Outlook. Maybe the one-line messages that you sent in Outlook, you don't have to wait for the response. You could do those types of things in an IM tool. One of the other nice things that we do have in the IM tool is the fact that we have the activity monitor. Once I'm in a conversation with somebody, if you see here, there's the IM. That's the messages we're sending back and forth. A video call, so I could create a video call with this person. I could call that person. If I call that person, Skype or Lync is going to ring their speakers and their microphone at their desk. There is also functionality of using your phone, an Android, an iPhone, or a Windows phone, to work with Lync or Skype as well. And in that case, it actually does use your phone functionality then. There is also the present. So whether I'm in a meeting, this is a scheduled meeting we're in right now, which is why I'm sharing my screen with you. But even if I just, on a one-off, I am somebody, hey, you know what, I really wanted you to see this, and I could present my desktop and I could show them exactly what I'm trying to show them. I can present programs, I can present PowerPoint files, I can also add attachments. And then of course there's more. If I click on more, there is a whiteboard, there's a poll, and there's a question and answer. So I have the ability to use all of those tools. Then there's an ellipse. If I click the ellipse that's over on the right-hand side, this is the more options. This is where I could manage my recordings. The text display, I can change the text display if I want. I can also change the font. And this is all the fonts that are available on your computer, so you do have the ability to change it to whatever you do want. You could also change the color. You can make it bold. You can change the size of the text if you want to. So you have a lot of functionality pieces as well. And then there's Skype help. Note that there is help right here, and this is in an IM window, but there's also help right from my my tool up here as well. There's help, and then there's Skype for Business help, which is exactly the same. All right, so again, Lync, what we think about with Lync is it's not just an IM tool. It's a tool that we can use to manage and maintain and communicate with all of our team members. I'm just going to show one of my slides again because I don't really have. I wanted to show this meeting slide again. So what we have again, when we're in a meeting, we have the IM feature. We can see all of our participants. We can actually see our participants in two different places. One of the other things that does happen is if I look right up here where the bigger of the pictures is, there is a blue bar that's underneath that person's name. Whoever is speaking at any given time, the blue bar will show up underneath their name. So if we have a meeting with 30 people, the person that is speaking, bloop, shows up so that we can actually see who it is that's talking instead of asking who it is that's talking. I think that's another really nice functionality piece that we have in Lync. All right, so at this point, we've done a basic introduction to all of the pieces of Lync or Skype for Business. Again, they're both Microsoft products. They both work. It is something that, depending on your organization and the versions of Office and things like that that you have, you may have Skype or Skype for Business, or you may have Lync. Thank you very much for your time.